It's 4:30 on WKYT this morning. A California community still in shock this morning, as is the case across the country after a mass shooting at a social services building that killed more than a dozen people. We'll bring you the very latest on the investigation.
State police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide out of Anderson County.
And it's a sign of a caring community how some T-shirts are going a long way in helping the family of a fallen Richmond police officer.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome in on this Thursday. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Let's see what's happening with weather right now with Micah.
We're holding on to a few flurries over toward east and southeastern Kentucky. It's nothing that's going to cause any issues, but it is there. Now, as we track off into your afternoon, we'll go from 30 to about 35 degrees here in the morning to about 40 degrees this afternoon. So you're really not going to see that big of a jump in temperatures. Right around 40 there with that chilly day in store. This is your coldest day in the forecast. It does get better as we head off into your weekend, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes.
Well, hang on for those improvements. Thank you. And in the news this morning, investigators have released some new details about a deadly mass shooting at a social services building in California, but they're still trying to figure out what led up to it.
Police say 2 suspects are dead after they allegedly opened fire in the building where 14 people were killed and 18 others injured. Danielle Nottingham reports from San Bernardino.
Police say both of the suspects had handguns and rifles on them. They were dressed in military-style clothing and had several magazines of ammunition. Police say the shooters, 28-year-old Saeed Farouk and his wife, 27-year-old Tashfeen Malik, were killed in a violent gun battle with officers less than 2 miles from where they allegedly massacred 14 people in San Bernardino. As part of the investigation, police were watching a residence, then spotted the suspect's vehicle. Farouk's brother-in-law says he spoke to him about a week ago.
We all are just completely shocked. We have no idea something this could happen.
Police say Farouk was a county employee and had attended a holiday gathering inside the Inland Regional Center, but left angry. Witnesses say the suspects, armed with assault rifles and handguns, returned to the social services building Wednesday morning and opened fire.
They came prepared to do what they did, as if they were on a mission.
Workers locked themselves in offices and sent texts. Others called loved ones.
I told them to just hunker down, make sure their cell phones were off, keep the noise, don't make noise.
Emergency workers turned an intersection into a triage area to treat the injured.
I called her, she texted me and she said she was cold and she told me she was shot in her side.
This is the 7th mass shooting in the United States within the past 5 months. Police say they've now cleared the social services building where they found 3 explosive devices. Authorities say there were multiple scenes they had to check for explosives. The motive in the shooting is still unclear. In San Bernardino, California, Danielle Nottingham, now back to you.
One officer was shot when police got into the gunfight with the suspects, but is expected to recover. Police have detained a 3rd suspect, but they say they do not yet know if he's connected to the case.
We're continuing to track a developing story out of Tennessee this morning. A Fort Campbell spokesman says 2 101st Airborne Division pilots were killed when their helicopter went down during a training mission last night. The U.S. Army is confirming that the Apache helicopter was from Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The pilots have not been identified yet.
What started as a welfare check turned into a horrible discovery. Police say they found 2 people dead in an Anderson County home, and they're calling this a murder-suicide. Police say they found the 2 bodies yesterday at the home on Ruland Drive just outside Lawrenceburg. Garrett Weimer is tracking the investigation.
Broken glass in the front door, a sign of the violence that shattered the quiet here on Ruland Drive.
You know, you wouldn't think nothing like this would ever go down, you know.
When a state police tactical team showed up, neighbors say it was like a scene out of a movie. One woman's photo shows officers crouching behind their cars, guns drawn.
Kentucky State Police Tactical Response Team used non-lethal methods to gain entry into the residence, and at that time they did find 2 deceased victims.
Neighbors across the street say they were even evacuated from their home. Police have not said what led to the shooting or why the tactical team was called to the scene, but say they don't believe others were in any danger. They're investigating it as a murder-suicide.
It's very, very heart-wrenching. It is, very.
Folks I talked to say it's a terrible tragedy, especially for the family this close to Christmas.
Scenes such as this are a tragedy for the whole community, for the families, for the officers involved. Whatever we can do as state police, we will do that in order to ensure that such tragedies don't occur.
No, nerves is all out of whack, you know. It's very, 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 very sad.
In Anderson County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And police say the shooting is still under investigation.
This morning, investigators say charges could be filed in connection to a crash that killed a Lexington couple. That crash happened yesterday morning on Versailles Road near New Circle Road. Lexington police say a pickup crossed into the opposite lanes and hit another truck. The coroner says 76-year-old Joseph Beamer and 73-year-old Cynthia Beamer of Paducah died after the crash. A third person was taken to a hospital. Investigators say charges could be filed against the driver who hit the couple's truck.
The death of a man found inside a moving truck in Lexington is no longer being investigated as a homicide. The Fayette County Coroner's Office first thought 33-year-old Barry Slavin had suffered a gunshot wound. Police found his body Tuesday in a truck off Alexandria Drive. Yesterday, the coroner said the wound was actually a ruptured cyst that had released a lot of blood.
A lot of times there's trace evidence that we do not see until we're able to get an individual at the medical examiner's office with lights.
The coroner says evidence found in the moving truck leads investigators to think Slavin may have died of a drug overdose. The coroner is waiting on toxicology report.
We're coming up on 4:37 here on WKYT this morning. The U.S. House has approved a bill that would scale back the federal government's role in American education. The bill would give states the decision-making power over how to use students' test performance in assessing teachers and schools. And it would end federal efforts to encourage academic standards such as Common Core. But the bill would keep a testing requirement from the No Child Left Behind law that many parents and teachers oppose. The Senate will vote on the bill next week, and President Obama is expected to sign it. It's been nearly a month since a Richmond police officer died after being shot in the line of duty.
And since then, people and businesses around Madison County have really stepped up and joined forces to help the officer's family. One business in particular came up with something very successful. As Monique Blair tells us, some T-shirts helped raise quite a bit of money.
The left chest of the shirt, it's end of watch, and that was the day he passed, and his badge number 457, and gone but not forgotten.
Shortly after Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis died, a custom printing store in Richmond wanted to do something to honor him. So they decided to make these T-shirts and give 100% of the proceeds to his family. But the response to the shirts far exceeded the store's expectations. Surge Promotions initially printed about 300 shirts, and moments after they announced those shirts were on sale, there was a line out this door. And within about an hour, those 300 shirts were gone.
We were selling them as fast as we could print them. We were pulling them off of our press and bringing them out and giving them people immediately. It was incredible.
Each time Surge Promotions announced it was printing a new batch of shirts, the line formed once again outside the store.
Everyone we talked to had an amazing thing to say about him and was heartbroken.
And now, after selling thousands of T-shirts, Surge Promotions will give a check written in the amount of $37,000 to Officer Daniel Ellis's family.
It's more than we could have ever expected, and the amount of support we had from the community, it was absolutely overwhelming, and it was humbling to us to see the community rally together like they did.
In Richmond,
blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And it's a Bible verse, and it's just in honor of Officer Ellis.
Monique Blair, WKYT.
Well, Surge Promotions isn't printing any more Officer Ellis shirts right now because they say they want to go ahead and give the money to his family. And quite a bit of money they have raised, obviously.
A tremendous response. Time this morning is 4:39. WKYT This Morning is just getting started.
Coming up, mornings can be hectic. Moms Every Day shares a make-ahead breakfast burrito recipe that's quick and delicious.
And it's all about temperatures the next few days. We head towards your weekend. It's going to be dry, but it's going to be chilly. I'll get into that forecast coming up next.